Tom Petty, Pearl Jam, Bon Jovi, and Annie Lennox. There are two standout reasons why I chose these books this week. Number one, it's the holidays, and I think these books would be a great recommendation for gifts. And number two, they're all coffee table style books, and they all way surpassed my expectation of what a good coffee table style book is like. This is the Rock Talk Studio podcast where I preview, review, and most importantly, recommend to you all the best of the world of new rock and roll books and documentaries. I'm your host, Big Rick. Let's plug in and talk some coffee table style books. Going to start with probably the most unique of the four books, and that is the Annie Lennox coffee table style book. It's called Retrospective. This is a photo-heavy look at the amazing Annie Lennox and her career. It spans 7 decades, and it really shines a light on Lennox's unique sense of style. This book is structured chronologically, and it's filled with her memories and untold scenes accompanying the photographs. She comments on the pictures and talks about her career throughout. Lennox has been photographed by famous photographers throughout her life, and the coffee table style book with a large layout really plays into these amazing photos. I mean, they really pop. She is so photogenic, and it really comes through. A coffee table style book is perfect for this type of presentation. And with this one, you get over 200 images here. There's Polaroids and personal archives also. But alongside that, you've got iconic portraits, stage looks, music video stills, and record covers. And though it's picture heavy, she still is such a great subject to photograph that the book also acts as kind of a diary, with Lennox adding lyrics and memories for her career. I wish it had a bit more contribution from Annie, but if you're a fan of hers and a fan of the Eurythmics, there is some really cool stuff here. And because it's kind of unique in a sense that she doesn't really put out a lot of stuff. There's not a lot of material out there about Annie Lennox, the Eurythmics. This coffee table style presentation is pretty cool. Annie Lennox Retrospective. Let's jump into the next book, Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam Live, 35 years of legendary music and revolutionary shows. And the band, though makers of great records to me, are even better as a live band. That's where you get the power. That's where you get the depth. That's where you get the unity of the band with its fans. And if you've ever been to a Pearl Jam show, you know what I'm talking about. And that's what this book tries to capture. It's 35-year retrospective of their career, focusing more on the live side of them. It's a coffee table style book, but I'm calling it a coffee table style mini. It's not as large as most coffee table style books, though it does come with a hardcover and a larger than standard book layout. So it's kind of an in-betweener. I like that with this one. And the way it's put together, it's from music journalist Selena Fragazzi, and it looks at the group through photos, interviews. You got set lists, memorabilia, a lot of cool stuff about their fan culture that built up around the band. The shows are looked at from the early days when they were playing as Mookie Blaylock, small gigs playing in malls, and then the progression. And it was pretty quick how they got to Lollapalooza. There's a Lollapalooza stuff in here. A lot of stuff about Pearl Jam's influences and their place in rock history. This one is mainly focusing on their live output, and it's done pretty well. I liked how the interjection of the text went along with the photographs. If you're a Pearl Jam fan, it's a pretty cool collection of 35 years, and it's one I would suggest. Book number 3 is a Tom Petty book, and a Tom Petty book always grabs my attention. I'm a huge fan of Petty. This one is called Tom Petty, The Life and Music. It's a pretty hefty presentation, too. It comes with a slipcover, and I remember when I received it, I pulled it out of this box, and I was really surprised by how much this thing weighed. It's pretty chunky. The main gist of the book is 75 moments in Petty's career. So each chapter is a different moment, 75 of them. And what stood out about this book was, even though it does chronologically tell the story of his career and his life, these moments aren't your typical moments. Of course, you get the big ones, but I like that there's little moments here too. There's actually a lot of moments that most people probably wouldn't recognize. And there's some kind of unknown ones. There's one about Tom Petty's Beach Party, the documentary, which I really liked. I thought that was really cool that they included that one. There's one about Petty's contribution to a charity Christmas album that came out in 1987. That's a little rare. There's a chapter on a tribute album that was done with other artists called You Got Lucky. And there was one, of course, I love this one, chapter 58, which was the biographies where they talk about the different books about were written on Tom. Warren Zane's great book is in there. And then the amazing book by Paul Zollo, Conversations with Tom Petty. If you're a fan of this show, you know that I talked a lot about these two books because they're both tremendous. So if you're a Petty fan, go out and get those two books, Warren Zane's autobiography and Paul Zollo's Conversation with Tom Petty. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. This book is written by Jillian Garr, and Jillian also wrote the Queen book, which is also a coffee table style presentation. It was Queen and a Night at the Opera 50 Years, which looked at 50 years of that cool album. And she does a really good job with this, and it's kind of a different type of presentation because she moves the story along without being, cliche Tom Petty and without doing all the tried and true Tom Petty stuff. It's in there, but she moves the story with enough depth and a good pace. I really like the pace. Something different here for Tom Petty fans. It's a nice collection. I really enjoyed it. A really beautiful presentation. The pictures are tremendous. There's memorabilia. There's all kinds of different posters and all kinds of different stuff from Petty's career. Some of the stuff I've never seen before. I really enjoyed this book. Tom Petty fans, check this one out. Tom Petty, The Life and Music. Before I jump in the last book, which I saved for a reason, let me tell you about something I put together that expands on what we're talking about today. If you like what I'm talking about today, these recommendations for the holidays, you are going to love what's coming up. And that is a bonus newsletter that I'm putting out in December 9th. That is the first annual Rock Talk Studio holiday shopping guide. And the reason behind this one is a lot of people were asking me for recommendations for the holidays. Hey, give me a Grateful Dead book. Give me a Springsteen book. My boyfriend really likes Brian Wilson. What do you got? I've got a lot. You know that I do. A lot that I get fired up about. So I decided, hey, I'm going to put together this extra newsletter and I'm going to shoot it out. That's going to give you a ton of recommendations for the holidays, something you can use for when you go to buy that perfect gift for that rock and roll fan that likes nothing more than a great rock and roll book for the holidays. Who doesn't like a great rock and roll book for the holidays? You want to get me something for the holidays? Get me a rock and roll book. You know I'm going to love it. So how do you get this holiday shopping guide? Well, you've got to subscribe to my newsletter. Cool thing about that, it's free, so it's not going to cost you anything. You just subscribe. The regular newsletter comes out one time a month, so it gives you all the news you need to know about the world of rock and roll books and documentaries, all the dates of all the new releases that are coming out, top 5 lists that I run throughout the year, all the news, all the notes, everything. So this holiday shopping guide is going to be a bonus newsletter that comes out. So hit the show notes, and in the show notes, you're going to see a little subscription button. Again, it's free. Just click it, and you'll get the holiday shopping guide and all these cool recommendations. All right, let's get back in, and I'm going to give you one more really cool coffee table style book to take a look at. Okay, full confession here. When I got this book and it was sent to me and they asked me to review it on the podcast, I was really unsure. I do like to read books about bands that I'm not that fond of because I get to learn and I get to expand, and I think I get to recommend things that I usually don't talk about on the show. And then there's different types of bands that I know people like to hear about, but I want to be authentic too. I'm not going to hype anything that doesn't really move me. So when I got approached to talk about this new Bon Jovi coffee table style book called Forever, I was very hesitant. I'm not a big John Bon Jovi fan. I'm not a Bon Jovi fan. I have a lot of respect for him. I've read a bunch about him at the Stone Pony when he was coming up, but I've just never really enjoyed his music that much. I remember working as a manager of a record store in Hollywood And I had an assistant that was really into the Bon Jovi record Slippery When Wet. And he's like, oh, this is going to be a big hit. Let's order a bunch more. And I just didn't see it. I didn't want to do it. And I didn't do it. I didn't order enough. And we ran out, and he held that over me forever. And he was right, man. He was right. Slippery When Wet was a big album, but I just didn't get it. I was a Springsteen fan growing up back east, Bon Jovi, New Jersey. It didn't work for me. But I gave this book a shot, and honestly, because one reason, and that was Genesis Publishing. I don't know if you're familiar with Genesis Publishing, but to me, they do coffee table style books like no one else. No one touches the quality, the absolute incredible production they put out. A+ books every time. One of my favorites is the Jimmy Page Anthology. Has anyone seen that one? It's just tremendous. The I, Me, Mine book, the George Harrison book was great. There's a Bob Marley one that's really cool. It goes on and on. I mean, they did a Tom Morello book, an Eric Clapton book, a Chuck D book, a Ringo Starr book, and every one of them is just like beyond. I'm telling you right now, if you want the cream of the crop of coffee table style books, check out Genesis Publishing. They really do it right. Okay, back to the John Bon Jovi book. I got it. I opened up the book, which came in this huge box, and I have to say, I was instantly blown away. This is an incredible presentation. This thing is packed with more pictures, more memorabilia, more things in a coffee table style book than I've ever seen in any other coffee table style book. It's like one of the greatest coffee table style books I've ever picked up. I was blown away. And if you're a John Bon Jovi fan, this has got to be the ultimate in a collection of his career. And what tops it off is that John Bon Jovi tells the story of his career in this book. He contributes to all the amazing things that were collected here. I can't even begin to talk about what's in here. You got lyrics. You've got lyrics written on paper plates that he had a slice of pizza on. There's letters that he kept. There's clothing. There's scribbles on his high school notebooks. There's a book bag with all his writings in it. It just goes on and on. This guy must have saved everything because it's in this book. There's so much personal stuff here. And because John was talking about it, I was really drawn into the book. I have to admit, it's an over-the-top presentation, and it gave me a new respect for John Bon Jovi. I don't know what else I could say about this book other than if you're a John Bon Jovi fan, if you're a Bon Jovi fan, it's an absolute incredible, deep-packed retrospective, 260 pages, Bon Jovi forever. This one is a monster. All right, that wraps up our 4-pack of coffee table style books that have come out here towards the end of the year that I wanted to share with you. Let me tease a little bit about next week's show. It's a new book I'm going to review. It's a second memoir from one of my favorite writers. And this writer just happens to also be one of my favorite rock and rollers. Can't wait to tell you all about this one coming up next week. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Love talking rock and roll with you. Don't forget to subscribe to the newsletter. It's free, and it's going to send you that holiday shopping guide that I was talking about. It's going to give you all the best of the best to hook up those rock and roll fans in your life for the holidays. All right, let's tear it down, pack it up, and head on down the road. I'll see you next time in the Rock Talk studio.